It's time for an emergency edition of the Wolfpacker Show. Cole Cloer is headed to NC State, the four-star recruit out of North Carolina by way of IMG Academy. Hi, everyone. Noah Fleshman here, the host of the show. But today we've got Jamie Shaw, Rivals senior national recruiting analyst for basketball at Rivals and On3. He's joined the show to break down everything about what Cole brings to the Wolfpack. Jamie, thanks for hopping on.
Man, no, I always appreciate it.
Cole Clover, the second commit of NC State's 2026 recruiting class, joining Trayvon Carter-Givens. But Jamie, when you look at Cole, what does he just bring to this team as a four-star recruit?
Well, there's kind of a lot to it. There's kind of a nuanced addition for the Wolfpack, and I'm sure we'll get into a lot of it later. So there's a local aspect to it as well. There's a recruiting battle as well, but kind of as a player, what Cole brings, you like his ability as a scorer. You like what he's done at the highest levels of basketball, whether it be travel basketball, whether it be playing for a state championship, whether it be in camp settings and all that. You like his ability and his feel for scoring the basketball. There's some shooting aspects to his game that he's going to continue to grow into, but he has a confidence and an air about him. And he's got a real ability, and he's shown a real ability at the highest levels now against his peers to be able to put the ball in the basket.
Definitely. Cole is a 6'7" small forward, number 28 player in the Rivals industry rankings. He picked NC State over a pretty, elite crop of blue blood programs. You've got a North Carolina, Florida, Alabama was in the mix too, as well as UConn. So those were his top five. Jamie, how big of a recruiting win is this for Will Wade early in his tenure at NC State when he's a guy that came in saying he's going to dominate the recruiting trail?
Well, it's a massive win on multiple aspects. First of it, you see the Final Five, you see the blue bloods, you see the winning nature that those programs have. I mean, just 2 years ago, Alabama was in the Final Four. You have UConn that was winning it back to back 2 years ago. Florida won it last year. Then you have UNC and NC State battling one another for this prospect. So there's that aspect of winning the battle. There's that aspect of going toe to toe, getting him to cancel his UNC visit, and having him go on campus to these other schools and winning. Massive. There's also the local aspect to it. The best player in the state of North Carolina. Putting a fence around your borders. They talk about it all the time in the recruiting aspect and all that. But being NC State and getting the best player in the state of North Carolina to come to NC State is also really big for the headlines as well. So overall, in totality, not only do you get an industry top 30 player, you get a guy who's won a state championship in North Carolina. You get a guy who won a Peach Jam finals at 15U, played in the finals in 16U, and then Elite Eight in Peach Jam, in 17U as the leading scorer. All of that encompassed, as I mentioned previously, it's kind of a nuanced recruit because it checks so many boxes of a win. It's one that you need to get done. If you're NC State and you're going to do the things that you say you're going to do, this is the player. These are the matchups. This is the recruitment to win. And in year one, in his first full off season as the head coach, Will Wade wins this recruiting matchup. It's very big to go along with the goals and the steps that they want to take as a program.
Definitely, yeah, beating out the likes of, UConn with Danny Hurley, who it really kind of came down to, NC State and UConn from everything we're hearing. But Jamie, when you talk about his winning nature, this kid's won everywhere he's been. How much does that play into a recruit having a win on the travel circuit, at Peach Jam or having a win, the high school level in North Carolina?
For sure. I mean, you see that it translates. You see, not only is he winning, but he's the leading scorer for these teams as well. He's at the top of the scouting report. He's the guy that everybody kind of knows about coming in, and he still elevates the floor of his team to being able to get it done. There's a lot to be said for that. Doing it all throughout his career, like I said, going back to winning the 15U Peach Jam Championship, getting to the finals in 16U, and then in 17U, taking them to the Elite Eight of Peach Jam, at the Nike circuit. Caldwell Academy winning the state championship last year, him being the central focal piece. I mean, winning travels, almost like rebounding, almost like defense. Winning travels, and you want to have a locker room filled with people who are used to winning, who have a winning nature about them, that's very big when it comes to building a culture around the program.
He did it on a good travel team with Team CP3 too. It's not like he was the only good player on the court, so he definitely knows
Right.
how to to play with talented players. But Jamie, when you look at his game, you've evaluated him for years, being an in-state kid. Where is the biggest strength that Cole brings? What's his biggest strength on the court?
The scoring. The scoring aspect is going to be what carries him is what carries him along. He has, I guess, this summer playing 17U, CP3 again, making it, two Peach Jam, making it to the Elite Eight. He averaged 16 points a game and he knocked down 2.2 threes per game throughout the Nike's EYBL circuit. That's going to be his strength. That's also going to be kind of what carries him and where he goes. He's going to have to elevate the rest of his game. The reads on the floor. He's going to have, defensive side of the ball. He's going to have to continue to take steps there. The superpower is going to be the scoring. The superpower is going to be how efficient can he become as a scorer, and what can he bring to the table from a scoring aspect, and more specifically from a shooting aspect.
Definitely. And then kind of going off that, where's the thing you think he needs to grow the most in his game to be ready at the college level?
Well, obviously the low hanging fruit answer there would be the defense and all that stuff. I think it's going to be streamlining his scoring efforts. I think it's going to be consolidating down his scoring game, figuring out where his best spots are on the floor, and kind of getting his, kind of strengthening his shot platform, getting his balance points together, and getting his shot mechanics, kind of streamlining his shot mechanics as well to be able to withstand, ACC high major level play. That's going to be kind of the biggest development, and stretching it out. Right now, he's really good in the mid-range, 18 feet and in, 2 dribble pull-ups, playing within a phone booth, getting to those scoring points as well, and getting out in transition, finishing at the basket. He's got some straight-line pop at the rim. But becoming a true scorer, becoming somebody that's a three-level type guy, and getting the shot mechanics down, getting the shot platform stronger, and being able to streamline the game, not necessarily taking a lot of dribbles, setups, and counters and all that type of stuff off the bounce, but getting to it within 1 or 2 dribbles to his spots, being able to knock down the shots. I think that's the biggest thing is to enhance. We talked about scoring being his superpower previously, enhancing that, continuing to consolidate, streamline that superpower to become the best of its ability. And I think everything else will rise up with that.
Definitely. This is a guy from Hillsborough, North Carolina, just outside of Chapel Hill. He played at Orange High School for 2 years, averaging more than 20 points both seasons there. Transferred to Caldwell Academy last season, now going to IMG. Jamie, you've watched him for such a long time. Has he grown? Where have you kind of seen him grow the most, as a player? Or is it kind of more just refining those skills and just becoming a better basketball player that way?
Well, the natural growth, even dating back to his middle school days, going back into early days at Orange High School, he was confident, and he was able to score the ball. I think refining that, but also the natural growth in his frame and body. He's gotten stronger. His base has gotten stronger. His platform has gotten a little bit stronger, and his athleticism has come along as well. So adding that to his game, while continuing to keep the scoring aspect and all that, but adding that strength, adding that added straight line explosion off 2 feet and all that has really kind of helped taking his game continue to grow. And it's going to be interesting to watch how he continues to grow from here, because there's a ceiling there. He's got a pretty high ceiling with what he's capable of doing, and there's still some room to growth. There's still a runway to be able to get more of that ceiling as he moves forward. There's a lot to like with his game, which is why he's an industry top 30 player. There's a lot to like there. There's a lot of production there, but there's also still some runway of growth to be able to step into.
Definitely. Now, as we alluded to, he's playing at IMG Academy this season down in Florida. What do you think that does for him just getting ready to play at the college level?
Well, it's an experience. Obviously, the jump from high school to college a lot of times can be a little bit of a shell shock, not only because the game and the playing aspect of it, but just the student aspect of it, going away from home and prioritizing your time, to class, studies, workout, gym, practice, et cetera, and doing that kind of, on your own, away from the house. He gets to do that a year early. IMG travels the schedules. They know they're just coming back from Abu Dhabi. He has a big time schedule that he's going to go flying across the country to be able to play these games with IMG Academy. So a lot of it will go into the prioritizing of his time and kind of streamline, mitigate, help with the transition period that comes from high school to college with the off the court stuff and prioritizing time and all that. So, the move to IMG gets you on that kind of college schedule. and it'll help with that.
Definitely. Cole, before we get out of here, he grew up an NC State fan, still a big recruiting win to beat out some of these blue blood programs, as we mentioned earlier. Jamie, what kind of message do you think this sends to not only the ACC, but nationally about Will Wade and his staff and what they want to do recruiting wise, as they still have some big fish left on the board?
Well, I think everybody across the country understands what not only Will Wade but Andrew Slater kind of brings to the table. I think everybody across the country, it's not a surprise that Will Wade gets players, but I think this shows Will Wade can still get it done. Will Wade will they can identify the players they need to get. They can formulate a plan to go after them, and they can win recruiting battles. Um, he did that at LSU. He did that at VCU. He's done that in the past, and he's showing that he's still doing that now at NC State. So I don't know that it's necessarily showing anybody anything new, but more so prolonging. This is what Will Wade has done. This is what Will Wade said he was going to do, and now Will Wade's doing it.
Will Wade still has his recruiting fastball at NC State. Jamie, appreciate you hopping on for a quick emergency edition of the podcast.
Noah, thank you very much.